They came and took it all away.
They came and took it all.
Liberty, freedom, rule of law, constitution. The people are the government. That is the engine of wealth, the engine of happiness, the engine of invention. But the blight, the scourge of big government and the control freak authoritarians is now upon us. Hilmar Von Campe, we're going to get more into ideological philosophy before you leave us, but I promise to go to calls right now. But you wanted to say something about the Declaration of Independence. Go ahead.
Yeah, it says in the second paragraph, it speaks of we hold those truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. So that is their task, to secure our rights. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government laying foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to the effect their safety and happiness. I think that our government and the Congress are acting in a really very irresponsible way, destroying our Constitution. And I think it's the right of the citizens, as you've already said, the roles have been turned around. What is up is down, and what is down is up. But we don't need to accept that. I just wonder how to, and I have no answer to the question, but how to affect what our Constitution and...
You do it state by state. You have to have the states not secede, but declare sovereignty under 9th and 10th Amendment. You have to then march through a mass awakening to take back the Congress, and you have to audit the Fed and arrest the banking leadership that are the true shadow government. By doing that, we could win this very quickly. But as you said earlier, we have become a decadent, wicked society on average. That made us easily taken over. So because people are so lazy and decadent, they can't even grasp basic philosophy that is ingrained in the natural law. But that, that sounds, the Declaration of Independence is a great threat to the New World Order, because today people go, okay, all men are equal. But that was a revolutionary statement then. We take it for granted. Before, kings were sovereign and above everyone, and everyone wasn't equal. Equal in our rights, not equal in our gifts or what we're able to do individually. And we are independent, free, and equal to create our own systems and our own wealth without having it sucked off of us by the parasite class. So that's why the elite demonize the Declaration of Independence, because the document written by Thomas Jefferson is the ultimate threat and stands in complete ideological resistance to their philosophy of the collectivist parasite system. Let's talk to Todd in Florida. You're on the air with former Hitler Jugend and former German military man in World War II, Hilmar Von Campe. Go ahead, Todd. You're on the air.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks, Von Campe, for coming in here and taking the time to talk to us. I had two questions. One that was directed to you, Alex, and one that was directed to Von Campe in regards to the parallels in our current government in Nazi Germany. First, my first question kind of leads into my second one, but basically, Alex, my fiance just gave birth to a 1-month-old baby. Is 1 month now, but of course the doctors are pushing tons of vaccines on. My first question is, one, did you give your kids when they were young any of the hepatitis?
They've never had one. No, my children have never had one vaccine.
Okay, I'm a huge fan, and I just always wanted to know that, especially since I have a young baby now. And for Mr. Von Campe, I wanted to talk to you about the parallels between the vaccinations that is going on now, the ones that they're trying to push on everybody, and the parallels between how the Germans and Nazis, did that back then. I know they obviously did a lot of horrendous things to the Jews.
Yeah, medical tyranny, the state running health care and using it as a way to control people. Mr. Von Campe.
Well, honestly, I can't remember. I know that there were some injections at the time, but there was nothing. Whatever I was a boy, and I think they are not. It's very difficult to compare because we are now 60, 70 years later, and the medicine has been developing fast in many aspects. And what they had at that time in Germany, I have to admit, I don't really know.
But they did use the medical tyranny to euthanize, to abort babies, to kill babies. I think that was a larger issue. But thank you, Todd. Craig in Kentucky. Craig, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How you doing, Alex?
Pretty good.
Mr. Von Campe, was there any type of town hall meetings implemented during before Mr. Hitler went completely berserk into totalitarian government?
No, there were. As far as I know, there wasn't anything of this nature. I think each party, you had a very strong Communist Party and also a strong Socialist party, and they used to have their own reunions from their party point of view. And the stormtroopers, SA as we called it, was the task. They were the force, the Nazi force, which they intimidated the rest of the people.
And by the way, that was one reason Hitler came to power and stayed in power, was because as bad as Hitler was, people were even more afraid of the communist and the socialist because people knew about the death camps and mass murder in Russia, and they knew the Soviets were behind these groups. So that was one thing that drove people into Hitler's arms. Correct, Mr. Von Campe?
Yeah, I think that was no secret in the Soviet Union. In Germany, it was different. Most people did not know about the Holocaust. I had no idea. But we all knew about the discrimination which the Jews had to suffer. And there was no national outcry because, and that is also a similarity, because the people were comfortable and they didn't want to run no risk.
What about the Holocaust of unborn babies in this country? No. Nobody seems to care about them.
You mean the 50 million?
Yes.
They were aborted here in America, no?
Yes, 51 million now.
Yeah, there is no difference between killing a live human being within his or her mother, and if you push a Jew into a gas camera. That is the same killing, which is against God, and that we have a government with this immorality representing us and making our laws, representing us in other countries. I think it's disgusting.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Craig?
And I want to say that I have plenty of information on this question, as far as I know, in my book, which you can get at my website.
We're going to give that out before you leave so people get pencil and paper ready. Anything else, Craig?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, as far as a democracy in this country, they're trying to say that this country is a democracy, even on the mainstream media, and we're a constitutional republic, and I don't think people actually understand what's going on. They're trying
exactly. Hitler was a democracy. He was elected. He then set up a tyranny after a democracy got him there. In a republic, if 51% say we're going to tax the other 49 or we're going to take their property, you can't do it because rule of law protects the minority as well as the majority. But in a democracy, they can put the carbon taxes on you. They can enslave you. And that's what's happening. If 51% says restrict their First Amendment, it happens, but not in a republic. Kevin in Texas. Kevin, you're on the air.
Hi, Mr. Von Campe. I'd like to ask two questions, if I may. I was wondering if you believe that you were successfully propagandized as a child, and also with the Nazi morals that they were pushing on you, did they differ from that of the morals of your parents and grandparents? And if so, what were the tactics that they used to try to get you onto their side?
Yeah, how did they help break up families? I mean, families were still together, but how did they, because you said there was a split in your family, but it was kept private. How did they turn the youth against their parents?
Well, they didn't. I don't think they were successful. The question is up to where can they influence people, and it has two sides. One, for instance, it was forbidden and menaced with capital treatment. You will be killed if you
death penalty.
To foreign radios. My father used to listen to German-speaking broadcasts from Britain and from Switzerland at 10 o'clock at night. But the problem you are putting forward is how did they do it? They ask questions at the children about their parents, how are you doing? There are many ways you can ask children, and they hoped that this way they can get hold of the parents if they recognize if there's anything which is against the Third Reich, against the Hitler regime.